welcome to my channel. Welcome to the Institutional Engagement and Accountability Tour, OCEO Show. Guys, we're going to be talking about a new concept, guys. One, I've spent so much time in the institutional world. Most people don't understand it. I want to be here to talk to you about it, guys. Listen, so one of the things most people don't understand is endowments, foundations, nonprofits, the world of institutional asset management, the world of nonprofit organizations, and how institutions are very instrumental in the structure and the culture and the nature of our country. For 20 years, I worked inside the endowment and foundation investment business. I was an outsourced chief investment officer. I served institutions as a specialized advisor that helped them understand that they didn't have the time or the resources to dedicate to managing a portfolio on their own, and that they should look to professional external management to professionalize as well as have accountability in place to steward their investment assets. So I sat in those rooms, I sat in those offices across the tables from the largest decision makers in our country. I know what gets said at these tables, and I know what doesn't get said at these tables, guys. And I've been developing something to engage with that world over the last 5 years, and I want to unveil it today. And today we're going to be calling these institutions directly to engage with them with a new model of execution, but also accountability. I want to engage with them to be the bridge between capital and labor, between the institution and the community, between the strategic plan and the execution, between their employees and legacy and dignity. So today we're going to be calling those institutions directly because they don't just manage large amounts of money. They set the tone for labor, for capital, and community in America. And the question is, are they ready to have a real conversation about these things? So let's get started, guys. We are going to be talking about endowment management. We are going to be talking about a lot of institutions that we already know, that we are very familiar with. And I think the time is now to start calling on them to engage with us, to understand how important it is to execute on their plans, how important it is to be accountable to the community that they serve, that they find themselves not only in physically, but the larger community that they serve. So over the next week, guys, today's Monday, we're going to be calling on institutions right here in our area to open up the conversation, open up the dialogue. And just to give you an example of what I mean by endowment. All right. First of all, it's so interesting. So I'm going to have my business partner, my friend, and my cousin Steph on the show so we can have a discussion. But it's interesting when people ask me what do, I tell them, well, I've been in investment management. I work with endowments, foundations, and other nonprofit organizations to help them with the administration and management of their investment portfolios. That just doesn't make sense to most people, right? They're looking at me glazed over, completely disoriented by what I said, and I have to break it down. So first of all, what is an endowment? All right. Steph asked me, what's an endowment? I said, okay, think about it. We have institutions in our neighborhood right now that have endowments larger than some countries have in assets, right? The University of Penn has an endowment of $23 billion. That's just money just sitting there, tax-free. We're going to talk about it, right? What is a financial endowment? It's a legal structure for managing, and in many cases, indefinitely perpetuating a pool of financial or real estate or other investments, right? So basically, it's a pool of financial assets, right? You can structure it any way you want, right? I've worked with endowments. I've worked with foundations. It's just like any other account. It's just like any other person. The endowment becomes an entity in and of itself, right? the endowment is an entity. So they have the opportunity to own anything they want. And endowments are often structured so that the inflation adjusted principal, or the corpus, basically what they started with, that value is kept intact, while a portion of the fund can be spent each year to promote the interest of the endowment, right? And that's what the endowment spending policy would be. And endowments are often governed by nonprofit corporations or charitable foundations or private foundations that, while serving a good cause, might not qualify as a public charity. So, in some jurisdictions, it's common for endowed funds to be established as a trust, independent of the organization and causes the endowment is meant to serve. Institutions that commonly manage endowments include academic institutions, colleges, universities, private schools, cultural institutions, museums, libraries, and theaters, service organizations, hospitals, retirement homes, and religious organizations like the churches and synagogues and mosques. Private endowments are some of the wealthiest entities in the world. Harvard's endowment is valued at $53 billion. It's a big endowment, and it's even larger today. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has an endowment of $167 billion. So the understanding of endowments is important when we're talking about these large amounts of money that are in these endowments that we don't know how they're being used and who they're benefiting. We need to understand what they are and what they mean. So Steph asked me the question, what are endowments? All right, I just told you what an endowment is. And most private endowments in the United States are governed by the Uniform Prudent Management, the UPMIFA Act, basically, right? And that's what they call it. Basically, they are not public foundations. They're private foundations that an individual has gifted money toward, and they want to use it to um, promote the greater good in their mind and their eyes. But see, the problem we have is all of these tax exempt things become ways to get out of paying taxes. And they do a little bit of good, which is good, but they do a lot of bit of good for themselves by getting them out of paying taxes, by making them look good to the public by giving money away to charity. All right. And then they go and take the money while doing good, or what they perceive as good. They spend the money on each other. So they'll have, for instance, they'll have like a a family give, $100,000 to an art gallery, right? But the $100,000 will be used to put on a nice function for the friends of the art gallery, right? And unveil some art at the art gallery. Now, you might say, well, that's great. Who doesn't need to pay for something of that nature? You say that's correct. But what you miss is the fact that the friends of the art gallery include him and his friends, and the art that they're going to display and unveil is a friend's art, a colleague's art, a business associate's art, a son's art. So now you have $100,000 being given to the art gallery or art museum, but you're pretty much throwing a party for yourself, your friends at this art gallery, which is fancy and cool, and you're unveiling and displaying art by your family member, business associate, or friend. Now, same thing with private foundations or public foundations or schools, right? And that's the point we're trying to make. It's not that it's wrong to do those things, but we just want to be clear and transparent on how those things are happening. And the tax breaks that you get for doing those things that just completely are flown under the radar, and the public good that is being purportedly done is tertiary to the actual lifestyle that they're living by giving money to charity, but then benefiting from the money that they give. So, I mean, that's a tertiary point, but my point is this is what we're talking about in this show, because there are some large dollars moving around in the private foundation and private endowment world. And Steph asked me the question, well, what's an endowment? I'm like, wow, it's a lot of people out here that don't even know that endowments exist. So anyway, we got to talking about the University of Pennsylvania. Temple University's endowment is probably around $2 billion. Villanova has a $1.5 billion endowment. All right, and you think about how much money that's generating each year. It's obscene amounts of money that you aren't familiar with, right? These amounts are in the hundreds of millions of dollars just by sitting in investments while you live paycheck to paycheck. So that's why I want you to take a look at what endowments are, what foundations are, and we're going to engage with them. We want to bring a level of communication and open line to them and transparency, as well as pitching them our service, right? We are offering them this outsourced chief execution office service that helps them execute on their strategic plan, helps them engage with their community, helps them speak to labor, and helps them bridge the gap between capital and labor, bridge the gap between the institution and the community, bridge the gap between the employer and the employee. All right. But we're here to do it, and we're here to talk about it, guys. Drexel University is approaching $1 billion. St. Joe's University is probably at around 500 million by now, guys. These endowments are getting large, and they are very impactful to the university and to the surrounding the surrounding neighborhood. They have a $492 million endowment, guys. So the thing is, guys, we have to know what these things are. Jefferson University. Let's look up Jefferson University. All right. Jefferson University has an endowment of $1.5 billion, guys. So we're talking about endowment management. We're talking about the world that I've been in for a very long time, and we're going to be talking about how we get engaged with that community, because it's so important for us to figure out what's going on, and to have accountability meet execution. And this is going to be real-time engagement with institutions, right? We're going to be firm with our understanding of the landscape, but professional, all right, because we want to engage with them. We want to bring our perspective to them as far as helping them understand what we need, what we want. We want communication with them. BirdBrand wants to partner with these institutions that are in our area, and we're going to be calling on them um, to reach out, to engage, and to meet, and to talk about these things. But like I said, for 20 years, I've worked in this business. All right, and there's a lot of money flowing through the halls of these institutions, and we want to engage with them as a community. We think about the University of Penn purchasing all of the real estate that they can in West Philly. Now, how does that take away from homeowners in West Philly? Well, is it for the good of the students? Is it for the good of the institution? Is it for the good of the homeowners or the renters in West Philly? Who is the University of Penn serving? And we're going to get some understanding on that before the day is over. All right, guys? So, but here's the reality, guys. The institutions that we know and love, they invest in perpetuity, while the people who power them live paycheck to paycheck. Who's advocating for them? And that's what my book talks about. Revaluing America is a book that I've written, and we talk about the relationship between capital and labor, and between contribution and proximity. And we want to understand how we get our fair share of value exchange for the value that we're giving. So that's what I want to talk about. That's what we're talking about today. And I'm going to be calling on institutions, and we're going to talk about that, and we want to know why labor isn't on the balance sheet. And today I'm calling on some institutions to find out if they're ready to answer that question. So, And really the OCEO model is designed to help institutions bridge the gap and bridge that gap between intention and execution and between institutions and communities. So that's what we're going to be talking about, guys. And I want to bring that discussion right here to you as we get in touch with some of the institutions that we want to talk to today. Um, this show is going to be going on every single day. This is the first show, and I'm excited to make this show a little bit better each day, each morning. We're going to be talking to and with the institutions that we have on our list. We're going to want to get in touch with them. We're going to email them, and then tomorrow we're going to give and place calls into them to get an understanding of where they are and who we can get in front of. All right. All right. So anyway, let's put some work in, guys. Today is the day, guys. We're going to be back here tomorrow. I can't wait to talk about what we have planned for you, and we're going to be seeing you back here tomorrow. All right.